Today's topic is red flags of child predators. Please stay tuned after our intro. I would like to say welcome in. Oh, Lady O, it's good to see you again. B, hello. You're welcome to come up. I did drop the link in chat. Again, if you have a channel, please post your link in chat so others can connect with you. So today's topic is red flags of a child predator. And this could be at any age. But a lot of this isn't about the age of where your children can understand and communicate with predators. Keeping your kids safe from sexual abuse is not a black and white issue. Even experts on the issue have interviewed convicted child molesters, remark on how likable they appear. So they don't look scary, in other words. They could look very welcoming, and they're going to be very friendly. So don't think that they're just going to be mean. They're going to be very friendly. They want to win the heart of your child. It's mostly a gray area. Predators that come off as good, charismatic, everyday kind of people. Their predatory behavior often extends towards how they treat and interact with other adults. So keep that in mind. No two abusers look alike or act the same. Many compartmentalize their abusive behaviors and seem perfectly typical people during their day-to-day life. Keep in mind that sexual abuse is often not about sex. It's going to be a control thing and dominance thing. They want control over their victim. Definitely. Okay. A lot of them had a lack of control in their life as a child. So for them, it's a control thing. So they have that control over someone else that they didn't have. Now, we all have a gut instinct, as I was speaking earlier in my previous live. Sometimes we have to go with our gut instinct. I'm going to welcome to the stage B. Welcome up. I don't know why we look that way. You're on top of me. There we go. Welcome back.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Hello, Lady O.
Okay. So it's over dominance. In many cases, rape is an outlet of the perpetrator as using a is perceived need, okay, not really like how you would think their brain works. Denise Graves, it's good to see you. Mwah. Good evening. I'm so happy to have you here. And so again, no two abusers look alike or act the same. They all have their own little quirks, but they have similarities in behavior. Seeing one or more of these red flags does not necessarily mean that you are in the presence of a sexual abuser, but if your gut instinct is telling you something is off, be vigilant, speak up, pay attention. You paying attention is the only safe way to protect your children. To this day, I probably still overprotect my children because of that gut instinct. Speak up if their behavior is inappropriate, minimizes the person of that has or minimizing and minimize, sorry, and minimize that person's access to your children or to children in general, especially when it comes to a one-on-one situation. Always have a third party available to help keep an eye out, especially if you have that weird gut feeling. It's probably in your best interest and your children's best interest to make sure that there's, I call it hypervigilant. Others would call me paranoid. Bringing it up and raising awareness in a casual way, saying, hey, you know what? I'm not fond of, how you're watching my child or how you're behaving around my child, or making sure that person doesn't undermine you. in a type of way. B fell off. He didn't have a seatbelt on. Naughty B. He'll be back. So, also, make sure that you're educated on it. I would suggest this to any new parents, or if you have, children already, look up the information, get to know, has an amazing channel. I will have someone drop his link in chat. He has an amazing channel that also discusses sexual abuse, and the repercussions. He's trying to help get the laws changed. So he has an amazing channel to check out. Also, he also does a lot of educational information. I believe he's working on pamphlets to help educate parents in these types of situations. Some predators can be very patient with their grooming behaviors. If you do not understand what grooming means, I know it's a trigger word for some, but grooming is that, petting, but not literally. They're petting emotionally. So if you feel that someone is being overly emotional with your child, tell me about your feelings. It is not their job. It's not. It's the parent's job. Welcome back, B. B.
There we go. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I got booted.
I don't know. So it is important for you to consider the risks of abuse, not just with new acquaintances, but with family members, people that you already know, people that are very close. As I've discussed before, it typically happens with family members more than it happens with a total stranger. It's going to happen with someone they trust over someone that is a new acquaintance in their life. You may not, so strangers and acquaintances. Okay, you may not necessarily know these people very well and only know them by name or face alone, a neighbor, a coach, a parent of another child you may know. So when your children are like, hey, I would like to go over to little Bobby's house to go play. You don't know what their parents are like. You don't know if they have a single parent home. You don't know if it's a stepdad living there. And I'm not going to just kick men. You don't know if it's a stepmom there that could be physically abusive or sexually abusive with children. So, if they won't do it in their own household, they may help have one of the other children help promote getting those kids in that home so they can also be abused. And they don't really know not to. That is the major problem, is the kids don't know what really is going on. They're young. So just be very vigilant. You're going to hear me say it a lot. Be very vigilant. Very vigilant. Just be cautious. And the following, and watch for the, no, I hear you. Be cautious for the following behaviors and characteristics. Oh, Lady O, if you can hear me, can you type a 1 in chat? Let me open up YouTube. Oh, Lady O said that she can hear me. So it must be B. B fell off again. Okay. So, again, be cautious of the following behaviors and characteristics, please. Volunteers or works with children, but does not have children of their own. Or they have child-friendly toys, video games, tree houses, train sets, doll collections, videos, games, videos, things that an adult has that don't have kids. So in other words, they are catering to children. Okay. It's unnerving for me. This is nerve-wracking. So you guys are going to have to be patient with me. Spends more time with children than adults or peers. May even come off as immature and childish themselves. Now, I do play a lot. but I've had kids my whole life. I have kids from the age of 28 down, so I still act like a kid sometimes. I do play video games, but I have children. If I acted that way and not have children, I either have a mental disorder or a mental disorder. And I think sexual abuse is a mental disorder. Excuse me. So for instance, if they could have like Asperger's, autism, etc., they could have a mental disorder, or they could very well be yeah. Okay. Has a favorite child that seems to spend more time with that one specific child, which may change over the years. Then they may switch to another child. This should draw concern. Gives gifts or special privileges for no apparent reason. Children need to earn their gifts. Okay. One of the problems we have today is that we're so willing to be so giving, and children don't earn. They don't know what the value of the dollar is anymore, and they're not earning their gifts. I'm not saying they need to earn love and affection. I'm saying gifts. Welcome in, Gemini guy. It's so good to see you. Long time no see. Overly affectionate or playful with children, hugging, tickling, wrestling, holding, or having a child sit on their lap. There is no reason a grown man that doesn't have children have a child sit on their lap. That is inappropriate. And as a parent, that is your job to point that out. Disregards to the word no or stop or other forms the child may use to avoid contact. Now, if a child is trying to avoid contact, I did notice this with my own, they will make a scene. Even if they're not old enough to talk, they will make a scene and make it obvious that they do not want to be left alone with that person, or that they do not want to be in contact with that person as much. They're either being physically hurt or emotionally hurt or sexually hurt. Welcome back, B.
Yeah, sorry. I apologize. It looks like I had to turn my internet off of 5G and go to 2G.
Oh, I love you, Gemini guy. I can actually hear you now, too. Okay. So long stares or periods of watching the child. So if you see someone glaring or gazing, however you want to say it, at your child from either across the room, across the table, and they're like keeping contact on whatever that child is doing for more than a few seconds, we've had issues.
Well,
We have issues.
Yeah, if they're staring at the child, but it would almost make it worse if they stared at you if you saw them looking at your child and then they were looking back at you to check. Like, are they paying
Well, a
attention?
lot of times these situations take when you're not present. But if you're present and they're looking over at you, like gazing over at you, like, are they watching me? Okay. And then they go back to glaring at the child. That should be a red flag for you as a parent. That means less time with them, more time with you, a lot more talking.
Yeah, full on creeping.
So they understand that. Yeah, creeping. Comments or conversations about the children's appearance, which may even take a turn to the inappropriate. So if you have someone that's like, hey, your daughter's getting some pretty big boobs, why the fuck are you looking, asshole? Just saying. You don't like my language? There is an exit door. Check your attitude on the way in. Comments or conversations about the child's appearance. No inappropriate talk, not allowed. Nope. Hypervigilant. May exhibit a sense that they feel they have special rights or privileges above others. No. No, you don't. You don't. And you won't get them either. Eagerness to learn details of your personal, possibly romantic life and your child and their interests. Are they trying to get in your pants, or are they trying to get in your child's pants? Sounds sick and demented, but that's how it is.
That's a tough thing for single women, because so say for example you meet a guy and you may be genuinely interested in that guy. Now you have to worry about whether or not that guy is actually not interested in you at all, but your child.
Yep. Yeah. And that can be hard because, a lot of us women that have been through it, or our children have been through it, we will just stay single because now we don't know the difference. Okay, so say you really are being really, really well behaved and you're waiting for, to get married to somebody. You get married and all of a sudden they turn left and it's your child they were after. I'm not saying don't date, but don't bring people around your kids until you know better. And it's hard because they don't look any different. They actually look really friendly. They look really nice and they can be really kind. But there is a motive to their kindness.
I mean, I could be wrong, but wouldn't that be a red flag if they were overly friendly as well?
Most definitely. Yeah. So comments, behavior, eagerness to learn details. Oh, flattering. They may flatter you, your children, their talents, and likewise, they may boast about their own successes and accomplishments, charitable work, and generosity. Like how good of a person they are, because they don't want you to know their dirty little secret. So they're going to boast about, oh, I've worked for so and so, and I've done all this charity stuff, and I'm a church going person. Or, I mean, look at priests have got in trouble. Come on now. Unless you're a eunuch, you're a male, you have hormones, don't dangle candy in front of a baby. And I'm not saying all men. John Smokes, it's good to see you. How are you, Miss Pinky? I am doing amazing, John. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. John said that he hoped I would do another podcast. I did one previous to this too, John. It's good to see you. Hopefully this one doesn't weird you out too much. If you are a single parent, especially a mother, this person may be new or a potential romantic interest that comes off as too good to be true, or anyone that seems interested in filling in as a fatherly role to your child. Be careful, because then you'll have a tendency to want to leave your child alone with that person, and you don't know that person. And any person that you don't know, and even people that you do know, I'm telling you, both instances were family members that I had known my whole entire life. Okay. The second one was the father of the child. The first one was a cousin. I changed that baby's diapers. But because that person was abused, they did it again to their younger cousin. Okay. It seems to like the very same things that your child is interested in. A certain video game, certain things they watch on television, certain little quirks that are like, well, for instance, dominoes or playing cards. I'm trying to think of elementary stuff, things like that, or horses, or, things that they're interested in. All of a sudden, this person has an innate interest in whatever they're doing. And one of those reasons is to get your child alone.
Well, wouldn't that
go I
for
will
like
take them out horseback riding.
Wouldn't that include like these grown-ass men that are into like the anime and stuff that just happens to coincidentally be something these little girls and boys are into?
I'm sorry if it's really loud, you guys. It is pouring down cats and dogs right now. And Kaylee brought up a good one. She says, and if your child tells you that they don't feel comfortable around a said person, listen and believe them no matter what. I don't care what age. Some kids do fiend for, that attention, but I would guarantee 95% is telling the truth, especially under the age of 10. Never ever dismiss them about something like that. Always trust and believe in what they say. Record it if you can, but don't do suggestive questioning. Don't say, did Uncle Bob do this? No, that's suggestive questioning. Who did this? Where did this happen? Or even kind of deny it a little bit just to keep them talking so you can record it. But if you suggestive question, it'll be thrown out immediately. Please remember that. No suggestive questioning. And this is a pain in the butt because you know what? We have children because we want a little mini me. And we want that little mini me to be better than me. And when something happens, we're like, oh my gosh, that mini me, I've failed as a parent. No, you didn't fail as a parent. That other person failed in humanity. It wasn't you, it was the other person. It's not your fault. That person is a sick person. It needs serious help. It really upsets me that the education system, that SA, are slipping through the required fingerprinting and background checks. Yes, I agree. John Smoke says that's the first thing that we are missing in our society is missing the science. Exactly. And so now we have kids and we're like, okay, so now I have a child. Not only do I need to teach it how to eat, poop, have good morals, have the fear of God put in them, but now we have to have the fear of predators put in them. It shouldn't even be on the table, but it is because it's happening all too frequently now, especially with the things that are going on in society today. That's why I've kind of added a little bit of the civic stuff into my program, because the civic stuff is what is in control here in the mannerisms that are going on in today's society, which is putting children at risk, from the internet to people coming across the border. Now we have to worry about, oh my gosh, let the school bus get an accident or something, and then somebody come kidnap one of your kids, and next thing you know, you're on 60 Minutes as a victim. I can attest to this. I am so sorry to that, John. I'm so sorry. And there's a lot of us in here, and I appreciate you getting my eyes all teary. Exactly. Kaylee says, if you dismiss them, they will shut down and they will never open again. I've been that kid. Yes. I never spoke what happened to me until I was told. My oldest never spoke of what happened to him until he was an adult. Okay. I was helicoptering. Yeah, it's raining really bad.
I thought that was me again for a moment.
No, it was me. And it might drop off again because I only have one little bar up there. So, okay, back to what I was saying. So seems to like the very same things and same interests as your child. Okay, tries to establish a sense of camaraderie with your child and draw your child away from you. And I know as parents, you're old enough to go it alone. You're old enough to do this on your own. You're old enough to make this decision on your own. Don't let another person override your parental rights. And that is that what you say goes. If a new person comes into your life and you don't agree with their views and they're telling your children these views, and it's to get close to your child, to get your child on their side, so your child will defend them. You know what I mean? It's okay,
They
John.
want to come off as a friend
As
more
the
than
good-
anything else.
Right. And I tell my children, they'll all tell you, I am not your friend. I am your mother. I can't be friends if I can't be your mom first. So, attempts to make you doubt your protective instincts. You're not one of those helicopter parents, are you? That comes, like hovers over them, overprotective, doesn't give them their space. No, I'm making sure my kid is safe. You are making my kid unsafe by not reinforcing what I've said. I'm never going to put my child in a position to, jump off a roof and break a leg. Parents don't do that. But we do try to instill safety mechanisms in them also. Offers to help out with your child, a stranger that may offer to walk them to an arcade while you're shopping at the mall, or an acquaintance that offers to watch or give your child a ride to soccer practice, to school, etc. And then you find yourself in a position where you feel obligated. If this person has helped you out a lot, then you're going to feel obligated. No, it's okay. You can say no. You can say no. Offers to help out your child, a stranger that may offer to walk them to an arcade, etc. If your child is particularly talented, musically, artistically, athletically, or is involved in beauty pageants, etc., someone approaches you with the opportunity that seems like that would benefit your child: private lessons, photography, shooting, meeting scouts. Now, I think I did tell you guys this yesterday, and I said there was this modeling agency, and my grandmother was like, oh, no, but hell no. I'm not letting her out of my sight. Sorry, not going to happen. And I can understand why. If your child is particularly talented, be careful, because you might have a predator that's stalking them. Someone that suggests that your child is in trouble or prone to lying to discredit their future claims of abuse. Now, remember this, ladies and gentlemen, if your child has been abused and you've expressed this abuse to current partner, future partner, family, friends, and they are a predator, they will try to use that against you later. Please keep that in mind. Some examples of behavior from real life situations: a church member who often asked to hold parents' toddlers or new boyfriends who began sleeping over with a single mom. A parent who attends school dances and spent most of the time dancing with a group of children. Family and friends, mentor, and peoples of authority. These are people you most likely have known for some time, trust, and that you trust with your child, and your child in their company. You see signs, you see some of the signs and pass them off as normal behavior. And in some cases, they may be. When abuse occurs with people we know, the perpetrator is not necessarily seeking out the opportunity to prey on children, but find him or herself in an opportunity to take advantage of access, trust, familiarity with the parent and or the child. These are opportunistic offenders. I will share some notes below. Be cautious of people who spend time, again, with more children than their peers. So, say for instance, you have a school teacher, okay? Say you have a school teacher, and this school teacher is like all of a sudden like going to school dances, and it was a volunteer thing. It wasn't like like not a school teacher, we'll say like an assistant at the school, because a lot of teachers are required to go to school dances. So say it's like an assistant at the school that they're not a teacher, they don't have their own children in their class or whatever, and they're attending school dances. Those are like the kind of, well, why would you want to hang out with a bunch of kids unless you're trying to creep up on one of the teachers? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially if they're dancing with kids, hanging out with kids. It's just not appropriate. Okay. It's just not. Women that are in unstable and controlling relationships seem to be incapable incapable, fearful of the partner leaving them or being alone. And this puts women in a position, like I said earlier, that you feel compelled, you feel obligated to a certain situation. And you just have to make sure that you put yourself as that wedge in that relationship and make it obvious from the get-go. You may lose resources. You may have to fend for yourself. You may have to, contact law enforcement. Do what you need to do to protect your children at all costs. This person may also encourage interaction with abusive partners, X as a substitute babysitter. The reason they're doing that is so that you seem unstable. Remember that you will seem unstable, that you are how do I say it? So that they can take control. So these are female offenders. Okay, these are female offenders that offend and hurt children. These are not male offenders. This is just female offenders. So a woman is going to want to get custody of your child. So if you seem like you don't have the ability to take care of your own children, they will try to rid you of the situation and take your children. Sound familiar, B? This person may encourage you to interact with your abusive ex-partner as a substitute babysitter. Yeah. They want in. Okay. They may have substance abuse problems. They may have a favorite child that they like to spend time with. They often get gifts. Like they'll get your children gifts. They're overly or affectionate and playful with children, hugging, tickling. I read all that before. It's a different type when it comes to women abusers. Okay. Example of red flag behavior: high school coach who communicated privately with an athlete that would often transport the child to and from events, and overnight nanny. What? Unexpectedly sent her husband as a substitute. Wow.
Hell no.
Juvenile offenders are estimated to be responsible for approximately 40% of all children abuse, yet they are the least discussed type of offenders. You've heard Get to Know say that. Most juvenile offenders that are over the age of 12, the reality is that you may see the behaviors in your own child, not necessarily someone who is a threat to your child. As adults, we are responsible and a guide, and it's our job to take action if we feel that our children may exhibit signs of abuse or sexual abuse. Be vigilant for children that are or have previously experienced abuse, physical, emotional, sexual, or all the above, and are not in therapy. Children exhibiting bullying, aggressive, and controlling behavior may exhibit sense that they feel they have special rights and privileges of others. Children that view pornography, children that have not been educated on human sexuality and proper responsible sexual behavior. And in such cases, the child may abuse other children out of curiosity with limited understanding that their behavior is wrong. And that's a hard one, because if your child has been abused, they may be an abuser. And so you have to explain to them what is appropriate and not appropriate behavior. Female children that have been abused might have negative views of females or other sexual orientation, genders, and gender identity issues. There we go with that woke shit. What can we do to reduce the risk of abuse is making sure that your child is watched constantly. I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, it takes an army to watch a child, just one. They're always getting into something, so just watch your kids. You'll see it. If something is happening, you as a parent will see it, but you'll feel it in your gut first. And when you feel it in your gut and you feel like something's wrong, something's not right, you're going to know. And you just have to remember to go with your gut. Don't let people be like, oh, it's all in your head. Don't listen to that BS. Empower your children and let them know what their rights are and help them prepare for things like this. Let them know, hey, there's a no-no zone that you are not allowed in. Minimize opportunities for abuse. And again, that's watching your children. The majority of sexual abuse occurs in a situation where the perpetrator is a one-on-one situation with your child. Do not leave your child alone with someone that you do not know 1,000%. And even if you do know them 1,000%, you might want to tack on another 1,000% just in case. Just in case. John Smokes. Okay, let me catch up with chat. I'm sorry, chat. Stranger danger. Yes, it was Barbizon. Lady O says more and more people are becoming predators. We need to understand why child trafficking is happening. It's happening because we're not paying attention to what our children are doing. They have iPads and iPhones and TV, and it's their babysitter. I have been guilty of giving my child the phone. I've been guilty of giving my child the iPad until I came across what I came across, which B wasn't here for that. But I explained to them what Undertale was. And please keep an eye out for it. All of these things that would make me immediately think, weirdo alert. That would be the little balls.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
As a parent, you should probably look at the conversations you have or you see your children having with people online, if you do let them online, because if you look at some of the conversations, you'll realize really, really quickly that these are not children they're talking to. Children speak in a very specific way.
Also, be those. Remember those conversations, they are going to divulge information to their peers. And you will know if they've been abused because they will tell their peers about it. They will talk to them about it because they're looking for reassurance and healing. Even though what they may be talking to somebody that's inappropriate, in their brain, they're trying to let that pain out.
Right.
Denise says, I just read the CDC data. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 13 boys in the United States suffer from childhood abuse. Yes.
I believe that with the boys, it actually may be higher.
I do think so too.
I think the boys just don't communicate it.
Exactly. My son didn't come to me until he was 26? Because I told you.
I mean, if you think back, I mean, I remember being a young guy. We thought we were pretty cool. And a friend of mine had a relationship, an adult relationship, with a woman that was 28.
His teacher?
Was 13. At 13.
Was it a teacher?
No.
Oh.
It was a
normally
young
it's
lady
the teacher or the babysitter.
It was a young lady that lived in the apartment complex his family lived in.
Wow. B, is it about you?
No, it's not me. It's my friend Eric. But yeah, she told him that she thought he was much older. We were dumbass kids, and we said, "Oh, well, this girl's got a place we can hang out at and everything." And we were dumb kids.
I know, and it's dangerous. Like, I think about all the little scary walks I would go on because I like doing like creepy, scary walks in the middle of the night. I'm lucky I survived. Gen X, I kid you guys not, like, I don't know how we survived. I've jumped off roofs, walked down creeks.
I mean,
I don't know how I survived this world.
I remember my dumbass being shot at when I was 14. Like, what the fuck was I thinking?
The BB gun. I'm surprised I didn't lose an eye.
I was talking real fire, but why would you ever put yourself in that position? We thought we were cool. It was stupid.
It was fun. Like jumping bike ramps and stuff.
Oh, well, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that was fun. But and oddly enough, We got shot at because we went to a girl's house or a guy's house where some young, and it was another situation. The girls were like 15 years old, 14 years old, and they were over drinking at some guys that were in their early 20s. That's still child abuse.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason
Contributing to
for
delinquency of a minor.
there's no reason for adults in their 20s to be hanging out with 13 and 14, 15-year-old girls.
I should have known. You just triggered a thought in my brain. Oh my gosh. Said assailant would try to drink beer with oldest son. Well, oldest son was not of legal age. Would take him to bars because in that state it was okay. Should have
Oh,
known.
really? You're right.
Yep.
I remember you telling me about that because I was like, no way.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? Yeah. So Kaylee says all of those things that make me go immediately to weirdo alert. Immediately, I wouldn't even let my child within arm's reach of a creep like that. And the crazy part, Kaylee, is sometimes we don't even know it till it's too late. Till we're already in a position that's compromised. Okay. Like that. Nope, not today. Satan, not worth it. Not going to prison over it because I am not calling 911. Fuck around and find out. Just saying. Exactly. You're gonna have a bullet between your eyes. Beep. Okay, poor decision making. Dark web enables a lot of it, and that is the what is it called? Undertale and Underlust, you guys. There are chat channels within Discord. I found them myself with the help of my child, and they're predator accounts. Creates a pattern of not protecting your child and not making decisions that are in the best interest of your child. That is some sick shit right there. More manipulation, yes.
That kind of goes to what I was saying about the conversations. You got to really look at them because they'll pretend to be children when they are nothing close.
Yep. Lady O says, unfortunately, even a child psychologist can't be trusted. Nope. There is no doctor that is going to allow to examine my child without me present. There is no psychologist, no psychiatrist is not going to be allowed to do anything without me present. I already know what happened with my daughter. She's already spilled the beans on it, so there ain't nothing she needs to hide. I will be present for everything. I am just saying. I am not putting her in a position with another whack doctor that could take advantage of the fact and then be like, oh, she's just mentally ill. I didn't do anything. Yep, I am on the same page with you right there, oh lady O. John says, example, making them think that you are supposed to be with men at a young age isn't normal. It's not. And John, I'm so sorry. So sorry. That's what my predator did, he said. I wish I could give you a big hug. Like it hurts. Oh, Lady O says hugs, John. I did Barbizon when I was a teenager, Inky. You know, I wanted to. And my grandmother was like, nope, I'm not leaving you alone with those people. They wanted to take me somewhere. I think it was take me to LA and do a photo shoot. And she was not about it. That was back in the 80s when they were taking kids to Mexico, not bringing them here, but they were taking them there. John says, years and years of therapy has made me a better person, and the toughness of being raised by my father and my grandfather has helped me to realize I was being groomed and manipulated. And men, please listen to what he's saying, because I know men are going to watch this later. It's not just girls. Men have been abused. Get to know was abused. A close friend of mine was abused by his own mother until he was the age of 16 years old. She was the first woman he slept with. Was his own mother. So please be careful. Lady O says, when I was dealing with toddlers and preschoolers, you could see who had been inappropriate sexual exposure to their play in their play. But most people don't pay attention to how children are playing. Exactly. Exactly. Let's play house. No, let's not. Let's not play doctor either. My mama didn't like them putting so much makeup on me being so young, and they wanted to fly me to New York with a group of girls, no parents for a week. Exactly. Exactly. My mama was like, hell no, that's not happening. That's exactly what my grandmother said too, because they wanted to take me, I think it was to LA. Thank you, Lady O. I appreciate that. Kaylee says, and that was the end of that. Yep, I didn't even get to start. Lucky girl. John says he's a tough guy. They mess the people up. Yes, they mess people up. They mess these people up. And it's crazy because I've known Kaylee once said to me, I don't know why I feel compelled to just spill my guts to you, Inky. And this is back when she called me Tainted, because my company name is Tainted Inc. It is not Pinkies Unplugged or Pinkies and Pinups. My business nonprofit name is
Stinky Pinky.
Tainted Inc. And the reason it got that name is because when you sign that little marriage certificate, that ink is tainted from day one. When you go into an abusive marriage, an abusive relationship. So that is the name of my nonprofit, is Tainted Inc. Tainted Inc. Incorporated. But Kaylee has said it to me. Numerous people have said it to me. They have come outright and was like, I don't know why I feel compelled. Danny has said it. I don't know why I feel compelled to talk to you about some of these things. It's been happening to me since I was younger. From little girls would come up to me talking to me about it. Daughters of gentlemen that I knew would come up to me and talk about it. And maybe I just seem as if maybe I'm just soft, and they can tell I'm soft and they can vent and I don't judge. And maybe I don't judge because I have been through it. I've been through it myself when I was young. And I kind of just blocked it out, was like, you know what, it is what it is. I didn't notice it affected me at all until I was an adult and it came to, my sexual relations. And there was just certain things that I wouldn't do. Like there was positions I wouldn't do. I would never get naked. I don't even know how I had kids. I wouldn't take my clothes off. It was like I was ashamed of my body. And there was just things that I wouldn't do, or I should say, let people do to me. It would always like trigger me back into my childhood, things that I didn't think were appropriate. So it will affect you in the long term. It just, sometimes it may not re-arise back up until you're an adult, or something happens when you're an adult and it triggers that emotion. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, where did these feelings come from? And it's like you just regressed back into your childhood and you have to start all that healing all over again. But it's because we don't deal with it when we're kids. We learn to block it out. And as we become an adult and we end up having children of our own, we either become very overprotective or just the opposite. You're detached and then your kids get hurt. And I'm not saying detached and kids getting hurt are the same thing. But when you're detached, you're less likely to pay attention to those signs of abuse. We have terrible judgment on who we're having children with or who's around our children. We're either scared of being alone because you've been abused. You're afraid you can't make it by yourself because you came from an abusive relationship or abusive family. There's all kinds of fears that can trigger us into staying in positions that are not healthy for yourself or for your children, for me, for my children. I wore long sleeves even in the summer as a child and a teenager. Why is that, oh lady oh? Yes, I do know how you feel about your mama. And as I've said before, you know what? You need to forgive for you. Doesn't mean you have to make amends, make friends, but we have to forgive those perpetrators for ourselves so we can heal as an adult. And I'm still going through it, man. And I'm 50 years old. So you guys got plenty of time to go through the phases of healing and purging. And I mean, sheesh, I only started purging, what was it, a couple of years ago?
So I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, this you mentioned don't stay into a situation because you feel pressured to and things like that, or you feel like you have to stay into a bad situation because whatever the case may be. It makes me wonder if the financial climate today, where so many people are struggling, has anything to do with the fact that
It's keeping them in positions where
there's a rise in how much of this that goes on. Are they staying in these situations because they can't afford to get out?
Well, you've said it yourself. You can't have a single family home. You can't have a single income home. So if you can't have a single income home, how do you expect the parent and the child to get into a safe place if they can't afford to take care of themselves?
No,
Government can't afford to take care of the government cannot afford. Well, they could if they'd stop wasting money, but they cannot afford to pay you enough to be self-sustainable.
No, you're absolutely right.
This is one of the reasons why I'm going to buy land and I'm going to put these little studios so people can rebuild their lives. It's a necessity because we don't have it. There's not enough. There's no way.
Nope, you're absolutely right. I mean, I thought of it after you said that, and you're right. I mean, when the average home costs double what the average income in America can financially afford, it's a problem.
Exactly. Kaylee nailed it. Yeah. And oh lady O said it was because she was ashamed. She didn't understand, but she was trying to hide her body. So we have to minimize the opportunity for abusers. Okay, that's step one. And then, making sure that we focus, we pay attention, we're listening to what they're saying without them saying it. If they're starting to hide, be more private. Well, what are you hiding? I want to see. Don't ask, just take. Take what their device is. Look at it. Flip through the apps. Read the messages. You'll see.
That's what I do.
Let's see. Abuses occurs within the home of the child or the perpetrator, often with others in close proximity, ex, or another room. It's important to identify situations where the children are isolated with older children or adults. Promoting an open door policy at home. I've had days where my house didn't have doors. There'll be none of that monkey business going on. I don't have male-female sleepovers either. Okay. I don't care what tree branch they swing on. There's no opposite sex sleepovers. Play dates, paying attention, open door policy at home during play dates and family gatherings, checking in on occasions, at least every half hour to every hour. A lot can happen in a half hour. If someone is spending time alone with a child, checking in with them at a quiet moment to ask if they were treated appropriately and ask them outright. Make sure that your children know they could tell you anything. And I think that's the only thing that saved my daughter was that she was so open with me. If someone is spending time alone with your child, okay, I already got that part. Okay, even if a child goes into school or attends childcare or takes part in sports, tutoring, or has medical appointments, there are steps to facilitate and within the facilities that prioritize the child's safety. I don't know if you guys have all heard this before, but if you have a male doctor, there has to be a female assistant in the room. That doesn't necessarily mean that she would prevent anything because she may know about the abuse, but stay present, because the only person that's going to be able to really advocate for your child is you.
And that's another scary zone. Are you familiar with Larry Nasser?
No.
He was a Michigan State gymnastics coach, doctor. I'm sorry, gymnastics doctor. And I watched the trial because it was local to me. And the young ladies, the things they said, the doctor would make what would, if you look on paper, well, what would appear to be a normal visitation into a reason to grope and touch
Mm-hmm.
ladies in inappropriate places.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing, I think he got life, but he's doing prison time for it. But you should look into this guy. He is quite the D-bag. A number of U.S. gymnastics teams, young ladies have spoke out about the abuse and the grapes that he has perpetrated in his career.
Wow. It's devastating. Did I tell you this story about okay, ladies. I'm old. Okay? I may not look very old, but I'm old.
Really old.
I'm old. So I started my menses in 7th grade. About 13, 14 years old. And they say, unless you've had intercourse, girls should not wear tampons. Well, I didn't want to wear a pad because I thought it was like kind of it, like none of the other girls were wearing them. And so I tried using a tampon, and of course I was very new to it. And this is probably TMI. But I thought I lost it. Now, being that young, not knowing how the women's body works, you can't really lose one. There's no place for it to go. Okay. So my grandmother, not being knowledgeable of those because she never wore one, really wasn't knowledgeable of the human body, and knowing that you can't really lose one, took me to the doctor. And I know Kaylee's going to be laughing her ass off right now. So, okay, so I put it in, and then I went to the bathroom, and I guess I bared down just a little bit too hard, and it came out, and I really didn't realize it. So when I went to go check on it later, it was not there. And I thought that my body ate it. So I went to the doctor. And this is back in the day before they had women in the room. And it was a male doctor. I never felt so gross afterwards. I think every orifice down there was intruded. For what reason, I don't know. He could have simply just said, you can't lose one. He could have very simply stuck the little thing in there and went, nope, not in there. Didn't have to stick his fingers all up in there, feeling around. Does this feel okay? The questions he asked to this day are unnerving now. He asked me if that felt good. I was violated by my own freaking doctor. Did I ever say anything? I just basically said, I never want to see this doctor again. He made me feel really gross. Now, ladies, for those of you that have daughters, please be careful and be in there with her when she has to get her first PAP or whatever, because they can take advantage of you and they can violate you and you wouldn't even know it because it looks like a typical exam. But had my grandmother been in the room with me, he probably wouldn't have said that. And he probably wouldn't have been fiddling around for so long, which felt like an eternity. So again, it's not just teachers, it's not just mates, it's not just, the neighbor, the uncle, what do they got, Kiddly Fiddler, whatever, Jimmy, whatever. It can be your doctor. So, that was my second experience before the age of, 15, that I had to deal with some crazy BS. And it happens a lot. It happens with grown women. There has been grown women that have had to sue GYN doctors or general practitioners that did exams, and the woman knew that that exam went just a little too far. So please, ladies, we get put in vulnerable positions, and our naiveness, just stay knowledgeable. Our naiveness is what gives them the freedom to get away with things that they shouldn't be getting away with. Yes, exactly. Blech. What the F? I know. Pretty gross. But I know it was a TMI subject or topic or story, but it happened, and just be careful. Now that I feel like, yeah. Okay. So talk to your schools, talk to them about their policies and their procedures. Also with, your doctors, same thing. If you're uncomfortable with that, make sure that you say, hey, I would like someone to come in with me. So, nothing can happen. It reduces the risk of abuse for you as an adult, and also risk the abuse of your children. I mean, you could have a weird doctor and he likes boys. Okay. So, you know how they have to like bend over and cough and stuff. You just got to be careful. Just be careful. Speak up when you witness inappropriate behavior or situations that increase risks. It's not our job to prove someone has an ill intentions, but to prioritize your child's safety. So many abusers will groom and test reactions of their targeted victims and the protective adults around them with seemingly harmless behaviors. And so what they'll do is they'll test the water. How much can I get away with? How much can I get away with? And they'll push you. Ask him if yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I was young. I was very, very young. And to most, that seems older now in today's society. But for me, I felt like I was a baby. Like that. I don't want to even think about it. I don't really I don't really talk about that. There's a few situations that happened to me that I really am not, I haven't been really super open with. One was a car ride from my boss, the doctor, the babysitter. Yeah. It happens a lot more than people think it does. This may be involving touching, spending time alone with your child, excessive interests in or conversations about that are simply not appropriate for that person's role of relationships. Like those people should not be asking your children, about like their sexual preference and things like that. Like personal conversations are off limits. Like if they can't have that conversation in front of me, they should not be having that conversation. Such examples may include teacher that would pick up a special student, and to sit on his lap. A daycare worker that would tickle the children in the tube slide out of view of the other staff. A Bible study leader who focuses too much of attention on his victim. Even if someone's intention is not harmful, it's important to address and correct inappropriate behavior so that your child understands and what to expect from people in position of authority. Because just because they have a position of authority doesn't mean it's okay. Kaylee says, oh, that's sad and messed up, but I can't stop laughing. I'm not sure what she's laughing about.
Only Kaylee.
I asked him if, that was like an old message. Okay. Even if okay. We've heard of the numerous parents who weren't sure what to do because they couldn't prove the person's intentions. but knew that the behavior was inappropriate for their position, the answer is simple: say something, because you know it's not right, and it can enable abuse if we don't talk, if we don't say something, if we don't stop it. It enables them to do more bad behavior. If anyone has any questions or needs me to go back over anything, please let me know. If you would like to come up on panel and discuss anything that I've just brought up, you're welcome to. I'm going to drop the link.
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Sorry, my cat's laying on my computer now. You there?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what would be a parent's best resource if they have no proof, but they suggest something, or they have it in their mind that something's just not right?
Well, you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, just
I record everything.
Yeah.
I record anything that makes me feel uncomfortable, whether it's a conversation, a behavior, especially if the behavior is repetitive, then I will record it. Just saying. Because if something does happen, I don't have any evidence if I don't. I talk to my children.
Yeah, but that's like just talking to the kid. I guess sometimes the kids know
But if
it's
you
wrong.
talk to them, make sure you're recording in case they do say something. If they don't, then you can delete it. But if they say something, you have it off the cuff. It's not like it was planned out. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, if there's been a behavior that's been going on, say you have kids and you're like, hey, I'm really uncomfortable. This guy from work is wanting to come hang out. He doesn't have any kids, but he said he'd bring over some kids' movies. I'm just going to use this as an example. And you're like, okay, well, I'm sure my son would like that. Why is he trying to appease your son?
My first question: why does he need to come over to meet my kid?
Just saying.
I'm real standoffish on that kind of stuff. Like, just like people that, like, if you're at a grocery store and, for example, someone tries to be really, really like I was at the store today. I was out shopping for clothes, and a little girl walks by and she goes, Mom, I hate it here. And she goes, I just want to buy everything and take it home with me. I laughed and I was like, she's cute. And the mom agreed. But then when I was leaving the store, I saw an old man, literally, and again, he could have been an innocent old man, but now he is down on his knee in front of this child, and he's offering to buy this child candy. And I mean, it may have been as innocent as could be, but to me, that's creepy. I know people need to know I guess, what's appropriate and what's not, but there are so many people out there. You got some that really think everything is innocent, and then you got others
and to me, that's just naive.
and
Stupid
that's
and naive.
That's just it. They're like, you've got to understand, and especially in today's climate, you've got to understand that, look, not everybody's going to view your innocence as being innocent. And unfortunately, the truth is, a lot of times it's not. I mean, why would a grown ass adult? It would be like, for example, you dating someone. Why would that? And that person was overly friendly with your child. They're not trying to get on your child's good side. Wouldn't you rather be overly friendly with mom? I mean, as an adult,
I don't know. Let's ask some ladies in chat.
Okay.
So, ladies in chat, guys in chat, if someone is being more friendly with your child than you, how would that make you feel? Thank you, old lady. I'm trying, but it's not easy. And yes, I'm smoking. Leave me alone. I have a lot of stress on my plate.
Bullshit. Oh, what?
What do you mean? Shoot, I got court again in a couple weeks. It's going to be a long 6 months.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, chat, what do you think? If someone comes into your life and they're more about appeasing your child than you, I would feel very uncomfortable, old lady O says. Yeah, I would too.
And I can get to a point where, hey, yeah, the guy is sucking up to the kid because he wants to get in good with mom, but at some point, you're putting your focus in the wrong place. And for me, I don't, no offense against the single mothers in the room, but I hate dating single women with children. Why? Because you will fall in love with a child, not in a creepy way. Um, and when you leave that relationship with the parent, you you can leave that relationship, but unfortunately, you have to let go of that relationship with the child as well, and that
Mhm.
sucks. So
And so
why
one
would
of my rules, if you listened to me earlier, is ladies, gentlemen, if you plan on dating, I don't know if I ever plan on dating again, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. If you ever plan on dating and you have been through abuse, your children's have been through abuse, just don't invite your children into that relationship until you're at least a year or two into it. You know that you're going to get married, and then slowly, gradually invite your children into the relationship only because you need to know what that person's motive is. Don't even introduce them because you don't want them to know what your child looks like. You don't know what kind of weirdos there are out there. And with that being said, if that person chooses not to stay, then your child doesn't get hurt because it is painful for a child to go in and out of mom and dad's relationships like they do. And it can actually be more painful, and they don't understand what a good, healthy relationship is because they've never seen it. So I myself probably would never involve my kids into another relationship unless I was for sure going to be with that person for the rest of my life ever again, because I don't want to hurt my children more than they've already been hurt by having a single mom. So, um, on that note, I don't know if I'll ever be in another relationship. At least that my daughter doesn't seem to think so. She's like, nope, my mom's going to be single forever. And that is just the way it is. She doesn't want me with anybody else. So she wants me all to herself.
you brought up a good point, and it's tougher to do, but it is a good idea, and it's good for all parties, not just the child, not just for yourself. But if you don't get introduced to the children, my ex and we all lived together. I bought the house. Her kids moved in with us. It was I thought was going to be a permanent relationship. So in that case, it's a little different, but it's tough. I remember her kids telling me. I used to take her kids out on my boat, even after we split up, and I remember her son telling me, that mom and the new boyfriend were shit talking. Like, really? You should be happy. Your kids have someone positive in their life, but no, it's just people are messed up, and you don't stop caring for the kids. I mean, I knew her kids from when they were
Didn't you take them
preteens.
out boating or something even after
Yeah,
you guys weren't together anymore? Yeah.
yeah, a few times. I take them out on the boat, drag them around on the tube, that kind of stuff. Um, but it made it tough. I mean, I've known these kids since they were preteens. I taught both
I
of her
hate
kids.
that word. I don't know why.
Well,
It's a trigger word for me. I don't, I'm having a Kaylee moment.
well,
I just don't like that word.
before they were teenagers. Then
Thank you.
um, I
Ugh.
took them. I took them both out. I taught them both to drive. I took her son to get his first tux to go to prom. I did all of the parent things. Her son was on the football team. I took him out on the football field for homecoming court when he was elected to homecoming court. Um, I did all of that stuff. I remember being at award ceremonies, hearing the kids scream because I got off work early that day to come up, to make it sure I was at the school, events. I heard Bill in front of their whole school. So I did all the parental type things. You know what I'm saying?
You played the husband role without being the husband.
Yes, unfortunately.
And ladies, don't do that either. Don't play the wifey role unless you've been wifed. Just saying. Why what is the saying? Why why buy the cow if you get the milk for free?
Yep.
Yeah. We have a code word in our family for awkward situations like that. It helps our kids and other family members aware. Pineapple juice. I think that's what Kaylee says. Pineapple juice. Or is it pineapple pizza? Pineapple juice. Maybe it's just pineapple. Yeah.
I think.
Be like, I'm hungry for some watermelon.
Yep. There's so much trauma people go through and they don't even realize it.
I know. I know.
I've told you about things that you still do that you didn't realize.
Oh, I used to apologize chronically.
Yep.
I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for that. Oh my gosh, don't mind me. I'm just mad at myself. Yeah. My son pointed it out. He's like, Mom, why do you apologize so much? You didn't do this before. Yeah. I caught myself saying I'm sorry all the time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And it's okay to be sorry for when things you've done that you should be sorry for. But people, when they've been through an abusive relationships, they catch themselves apologizing all the time because the abusers like makes them feel like they have to do that. So it becomes a habit.
I don't know. There's the I'm sorry's I'm big about. I don't like to hear people say that unless they mean it. The I love everybody. I love this person. I tell you
Well,
what.
I do. I love everyone that comes into my chat, people that watch my show afterwards. And it's just because I'm a loving, caring person. Am I in love with them? No, but I love them as another human being that deserves to be loved and shown love because there's a lot of people here on YouTube that don't get love.
See,
And
that's where you and I differ. If you hear me say those words, I mean it.
well, that people understand there's a difference between me saying like, okay,
But
so
there's
I hope nobody in chat gets offended. Denise Graves, she's been an amazing supporter, awesome woman. I'm glad to see her back. Kaylee and I, we used to have numerous conversations off air, and I built a bond with her. She expressed to me stuff about her past, and I expressed stuff to her about my past. So we were able to like kind of have a little bit of a trauma bond going on there. And so I was able to actually be able to vent and get my emotions and my feelings and my fears off my chest, off my heart, and know that there's somebody out there that understood and they could relate to me. So someone that hasn't been through abuse or doesn't understand what you've been through can't really relate, so to speak. They can say, I understand, but they can't relate on an emotional level. So I felt more compelled to be closer to Kaylee, if that makes sense. Like I love her as not just a human being, but she has a piece of my heart, which I expressed many times, even when I was upset on my streams, because I felt like that part of me that I was able to expose and share with her was like thrown out the window, I guess. So, um, so that hurt more than someone that I'm less, close with. That would be like you and I going our separate ways and you saying something just raunchy or whatever. And I'd be like, wow, like, me from like 99.9% of my whole life. And you know what I mean? And for
yeah,
for you to say something that was derogatory about something I've, brought up on a podcast or, expressed
something you
personally
told
to
me.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah. It would hurt me deeply
yeah, but you don't do that
because
to the people you care about.
you know, 99.9% probably of my life, if not 100%. Um, you know, uh, yeah, it would hurt deeply, but I do love everyone in chat as just, helping me get the awareness out there, helping me let people know that, you know what, you're not alone. You're not alone. None of us are alone. It just seems like we're alone when we're going through it. And, I think, honestly, I do think that having you all as a support group has helped me be able to handle and navigate what I'm going through now a lot easier. I'm not as shaken up. I'm not as nervous. I'm not as scared. I'm able to be clear headed and say, no, I'm getting this shit done. And you know what? That's just how it is. And I still get nervous when I have to deal with the situation, but not like it used to be, you know? Kaylee says it takes the pressure away. Right. There's a difference to love people, but not in love. Exactly. When you know that someone truly understands, it takes the pressure away from having to explain it to someone, trying to make them understand something that you can't even comprehend yourself. Exactly. And she could
Maybe
understand and relate because she had been through very, very similar situation.
and maybe that's my own trauma that causes me not to be that way. I'm not that. I love everybody. 9 times out of I can be the nicest guy in the world, but it takes a lot for me to open up to somebody.
Hmm.
Most people, I don't trust you. I don't like you. Just you stay in your lane. I'm gonna stay in mine. Don't fuck with me.
Well, I used to be told that all the time. They're like, Ray, you don't trust anybody. Well, no, nobody has showed me that I can trust them. So
You,
I've had to say, no, you have to earn my trust. And once you earn my trust, then if you hurt me, it's like I have learned to not be vindictive. I've learned to not hold grudges anymore because it doesn't get me anywhere. So now I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just write you off like you didn't exist. And I mean, that includes family members and anyone else. Like I have learned to give people enough rope to hang themselves. That's all I can say.
you and I've had that discussion before.
Mhm,
It's you have your reasons for it. I mean,
mhm.
like I said, I know, like you said, I know a lot about you. You've always been that person to give, and give. And when you needed help, no one's ever been there for you.
Mhm.
Whereas for me, I'm the same way, but I've never seen a side of that other than that. I don't look for anybody. I don't depend on anybody. I'm that, and you've seen this in me. I'm very, very, almost overly self-dependent. I won't take shit from anybody. I don't. If me and a group of people go out to eat, I make sure I at least pay for myself, but I'll probably pay for everybody there. That is the way I am. I will not have a single person in this world that says I owe them. It's literally, it's just, again, that's me.
And with that being said, so ladies, gents, if someone has helped you with your child, helped you in general, and they are abusive, don't feel obligated to continue on with that relationship because a lot of times we will feel compelled or obligated to that person, even though we know that that person is doing something that they shouldn't be doing. I hold
Oh,
everyone here in chat in high regard.
you know,
Same. I do too.
I really hope that there's, and I'm sure it exists. I mean, I was washing comforters last weekend because it's finally starting to get cold here. So I took all my,
I thought
big
you got like 6 feet of snow.
no, 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 it's not that bad. Fuck, it
Oh,
was 65 today. Um,
lucky.
but it's starting to get cold. So I went to the laundromat and I'm washing these big thick comforters, and I see this woman come in, and I saw her pull up, and she's got Georgia plates, I think, on her car, and she pulls up in this beat up POS car, and she's loading the literally
I
trash.
think Fast Eddie's trying to pass the Pookie.
The hell does that mean?
I don't know, but they're always talking about it, and he said pass it.
Oh, um. Anyway, she starts like pulling these loads of clothes. out of this little compact car in trash bags, and she's doing laundry, and she's just sitting there loading up the machines. And this guy pulls up in a pickup truck, fat, dirty, greasy looking dude. And it's a contractor's truck with a company name all over the side of it. I won't say the company name, but um, he uh, he walks up and he goes up to the counter and tells the guy he needs like $30 in quarters. Um, and he starts dropping them in the girls' machines. And the first thing this man does, he goes, "Well, I did all this for you. What are you going to do for me?" And he walked. And
Really?
it was disgusting. She looked repulsed to talk to this guy. Let alone then he goes, "Give me some lovin'," and she gave him a hug. And he starts like, "Come on, you can do better than that." And he turns his cheek sideways as if like to give me a kiss in the cheek. And I'm sitting here thinking like, wow. And as you know, I'm looking at investment properties. So I did, just out of curiosity, ask the guy what kind of work he does. And he tells me, he's a gutter guy and does siding and this and that. And, he was quick to tell me that he moved that girl up here from somewhere online. He met her online, moved her up here, and she and her kids are now living with him. And I just thought to myself, like, what kind of shit does this poor woman have to put up with? What did she do? Did she
So, in
sell?
other words, he took her out of a bad situation, brought her into that situation, and she is feeling compelled to
Exactly.
fill
Like she
whatever the
owes
needs
him
are
something.
that he is requesting.
Yes, like she owes him something. I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible to watch.
Blech.
I mean, you could tell she was down on her luck. She was a younger girl, probably in her late 20s. This dude was well into his 50s, if not 60s. Um, and she
Well,
could
maybe
probably,
she's into that guy. Are you sure? Like,
yes, I'm sure. She talked to me. She went up and gave me the, you smell good thing type of thing when I walked by. So she was very friendly. But as soon as that dude got there, her whole demeanor changed. And like I said, the guy kept bringing it up. So like everybody in the place knew that he was paying for it. And like, I'm asking you about your business. And the first thing he tells me is how he brought her up. Yeah, I met her online. She was needy as shit. Like, dude, if you got to tell somebody and brag about what you're doing for them, just don't do it. But
wow.
but then I see, the come on, you can do better than that. Give me some love. And like, what is that poor woman doing or going to have to do? You ever look at someone and just see they're like crawling in their own skin? Like
Yeah.
that was the look on her face as she's trying to chase around maybe a 5-year-old child. And this dude's over here acting like this. Like it was just, it, it's disturbing to see somebody feel that they owe somebody that much, that bad. I mean, I don't know
And
what kind of
that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, with the building of the homes, it gives the women, families the ability to get out, get away from a situation, and they don't feel compelled to have to stay there, or they don't feel compelled to have to get into another situation that is less advantageous for their life. So they can actually grow and learn and get counseling and get therapy and learn to be an individual. And next relationship they get into, it's because they want to, not because they need to, not because they have to. I would
I mean,
never want to be with somebody because I have to be with them.
and that's what was so creepy about it. It's not even like the guy tried to hide it. Like he was real comfortable. I
Welcome
mean,
in, Gray Pill. You're only agreeing with B because he's a guy. I'm just kidding. I'm just
it,
joking.
it truly is. It was disgusting to see. It's I would, and I'm
It
trying to
shouldn't
think.
be disgusting. It should be painful. It should be painful to see someone have to be put in a position to feel that they have to accommodate somebody to survive. And that is women. Men go into protect mode and thrive mode. If they're around the right people, they can thrive. Women, or self-destruct mode. Women will go into a mode of survival. So, like, for instance, I hope this doesn't offend anybody. A lot of gay and lesbian relationships came out of women that were in abused relationships. So they would result into being in relationships with other women to survive, not to thrive. It was to survive. And so that cycle took off. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah, I don't know.
I can tell you from my grandmother's experience. My grandmother was heterosexual, very heterosexual. And she was married. She had one, 2, 3, 5 children. 2 of them were twins, and they passed away before the age of 1. She had 3 living children. And when her oldest one passed away, her husband passed away, and my mother passed away. It was just me and her and my uncle. And she went into survival mode. And she found herself in a position where she was in an abusive relationship. She went from one abusive relationship into another one. And she finally got out with just her and me, and we thrived. But it takes a group of people that surround you and support you to get you away from the surviving mode into thriving mode. Now, there is a lot of women out there that have been in long-term marriages, relationships that are extremely abusive. They don't know how to survive by themselves. They don't know how to survive outside of that marriage.
My ex.
I was in a marriage for 17 years. And I didn't know I could survive outside of that marriage. That's what landed me in the position I was in, because I was scared.
My ex was married for 12 years before I met her. We split up. And I mean, in reality, it's almost like we were together. Like I was there to financially fund her because she couldn't do it on her own.
Oh, and a lot of women that have been in long-term marriages that didn't have to work don't know what it's like to work. They don't know what that's like. Now, in my situation, I was the primary income for many, many, many years.
Yeah, you put him through school and everything. I remember.
Put him through military, school. Yeah. He has his doctorate. Come on now. That's a lot of schooling. So, I went through that phase of, can I survive on my own? I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. It wasn't physically abusive. It was controlling. And I tested the water, and I really didn't like it. But because I had looked up to that person for so long. And my mindset was whatever they said was like gold, that I went into a mode of, oh my gosh, now I'm in survival mode. And I landed myself in a position with an extremely abusive person who was extremely volatile and violent out of fear. So then, not only was I in an abusive relationship, but then I was scared to admit it to my ex that I had failed. So he could laugh at me and be like, oh, I knew you couldn't do it without me. That it was the most heart-wrenching moments of my life, was like, oh my gosh, how do I explain that I jumped from the frying pan into the fire?
But you know what? Someone that truly does or ever has loved you isn't going to do that.
Yeah, they will.
No, they don't.
If they're abusive, they will.
If they're abusive. But that's not someone that loves you. Someone that loves you doesn't abuse you.
Yes, they do. Because it's the only thing they know. That is fact. Someone can love you and still abuse you.
Mm,
They just don't know how to love any other way.
I guess.
So, for instance, someone that was abused as a child, they don't know what it's like to not be abused. They don't know what it's like not to abuse. So to them, they still love you. They still want to own you. They still want to conquer you. But that doesn't mean they're not abusive. That's exactly what the therapist told me. Doesn't mean he doesn't love you. That's the only way he knows how to love, is out of abuse.
To be that conquering, controlling asshole.
Mm-hmm. But that's how he was treated. So in his mind, that was still love. But he had to do that with his own children. He wanted to be number one. He had to conquer.
Which
He had to
opens you up
abuse.
for even more, a different type of abuse.
Mm-hmm. He didn't want anybody else to have her. It's sick and demented. I agree 1,000%. But people that abuse that way don't know anything else. And I can honestly say, like, I don't always have a nice, sweet little mouth. I can be nasty.
You can be?
I can be nasty. I can have a nasty little mouth. And I have to go back and be like, man, Rhea, that wasn't right. But I was screamed at a lot. So, we all have to take whatever abuse that we have dealt with in our life. And I want to say I don't know how to say the word right now. Put it in a box and keep that box with you and say, I understand this happened, but it doesn't make me. It was part of what happened to me, but it's not me as a whole human being. And remind yourself to not do that to other people, because we will. We all do. No matter what it is, whether it was verbal abuse, mental abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, we will tend to have those same mannerisms in our everyday life.
I mean, I can agree with that. I can, my stepfather was more of a father than my real father, because my real father spent most of his life in prison. So with that being said, there's a lot of things I learned from my stepfather when it comes to parenting. Although I don't have any children myself, I quickly learned things not to do. You know what I'm saying? So I guess at that point in life, you have to decide if you're going to repeat the situation. And I understand some people do it not knowingly, or if you're going to do, like myself, everything you can do to be opposite of that.
Mm-hmm. So, for instance, like, my grandmother was extremely overprotective. And so I've tried to not be so overbearing parent, but at the same time, how much leash can we let out before we put our children in a position in these calm days of getting hurt? It's the unknown. And again, we have to go back to our gut feeling. I have to stick with the narrative, and that's go with your gut, because you're not going to lie. So God-given gut feeling, you have to follow it. Because when we tend to deviate from that because somebody else's way of thinking, and they're like, oh, you should think that, something happen, and then I'd rather be an overprotective parent and know that my children are safe than to not be an overprotective parent and something else happen beyond what has already happened. Just saying.
Yes.
But it can be, if we do, what did they call it? Helicoptering, kind of like hovering over our children. And it's true. They do need their own little legs. They're like little baby giraffes that need to like learn to stand up on their own. But you notice, like in horse communities, animal communities, that mom still doesn't let them stray very far.
You're helicoptering
Think,
right
think,
now.
am I really?
Yes, you're breaking up.
Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. Let me reboot.
Yep. Was anybody else having problems hearing her? Is the chat silent? You guys can all take this opportunity to like and subscribe if you haven't done so. Anybody? Am I still connected? Is the chat room alive? I'm now taking over Inky's channel.
Hello?
Hello. I'm starting to wonder if I was still alive.
Am I still helicoptering?
No, you're good.
I have 56%, but it should be okay.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. Glad to know that, Lady O.
She said I had trouble hearing Pinky too, and I'm sorry. And so I'd rather be kind of a helicoptering parent that kind of hovers over my kids than one that is just letting them run amok. So that's just me.
Let's be real. We should be able to do vigilante justice on people that hurt kids. I know it's not.
Yeah.
I know that's not feasible, but
I mean, it can if you don't mind sporting an orange jumpsuit. I mean, you already know what my take is on that.
Right. I don't have much life left, so how much are they going to take from me?
So O Lady O says, I became a single mom of a 2-year-old after being married for 5 years. When my husband passed, I was 27. My parents wanted me to move back home, but I wanted to grow up. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a big problem nowadays. Kids don't grow up. They don't get the chance. Again, that makes me wonder, like I was saying about the financial situation. I mean, is there more abuse now, or is it just more prevalent because of the internet and, the ability to transfer news so fastly that it gets spread across, the country faster?
So to answer that question, yes, there is more abuse now because more people have access to your children.
Oh,
was
yeah,
there abuse then? Yes, but it was brushed under the rug. So yes and yes to both of those. Yes, abuse happened then, but there is still more now, only because other people have more access to your children via the web. Does it still happen in your own backyard? Yes. And that's why I am really emphasizing to you guys on the fact of watching your own backyard more than you're watching the outside world, only because you're not expecting it to happen in your own home, at your cousin's house, at your uncle's house. You're not expecting that. Your grandfather's house. not in places that you would typically look.
And that's just it. And there's, like I was saying earlier, I guess that does make it worse because that Undertale or whatever that BS we were talking about, you got grown adults acting or portraying themselves as children, as predators. You've got a platform that's disguised as something else where they can get away with that. It's just it's a disgusting world we live in.
And for children that have already been abused, it's common to them. Like they understand it. So it puts them at risk for it to happen again. Yes. Opa, it's good to see you.
How as a grown adult does that not trigger you in any kind of way? Doesn't get any kind of reaction? Like how would I wouldn't be able to sit there while I heard this was going on and just suck it up. Like that would as a normal adult, you would think that would have to trigger every single person that encounters it and hears about it.
Yeah. You would think.
If it doesn't trigger you, you are probably part of the problem.
That is exactly what I was saying. There has to be that type of crookedness in Congress because they would make sure that it did not exist.
Exactly.
If it was, I'm telling you, that's just what my gut is telling me, that it has to be going on in their backyard for them not to want to eradicate the issue.
That's a great way to put that. Eradicate
the issue. Think about who's going to be okay. So you have a small business, we'll say, and you're like, you know what? I will take in some of these immigrants into my home and I'll sponsor them. And they put them to work. The moms become abused sexually. The children become abused sexually. They're being forced to do things they don't want to do. And the boys are being forced to work without pay underage. Who agreed to that? That didn't cross their mind. You can't tell me a grown adult made that law, said it was okay, and it did not cross their mind that these kids would be abused. These women would be abused.
You're absolutely right.
That's ridiculous. It had to have crossed their mind.
I hate to bring it up because it's been brought up 9 million times, but look at that Epstein's deal. They still to this day have not released those people. How many powerful people were on his little creeper island? Why are they trying to bury it that deep? They went from, we know exactly who it is and we have a list, and that list never gets brought up again. Get the hell out of here.
It's kind of like the laptop.
Yeah. And did we forget about his little entries in there and the accusations of his niece? I mean, his niece said that at 13 years old, he would shower with her. I get it. He's the most powerful man in the U.S., but come on. That's creepy.
Are you talking about Jeffrey?
No. I assume you've never heard about Biden's deal.
Oh, yeah.
Accusations with his niece.
What? Oh, that was his niece you were talking about?
Yeah. I mean, they found a schedule.
Jeffrey Epstein. Are you talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
I was, and I was also talking about Biden.
Okay, so Jeffrey Epstein. Let's go back to him real quick. So, an American sex offender, born and raised in New York City. Epstein has began his professional life by teaching at the Dalton School despite lacking college degree. How did he become a teacher without a college degree? Okay, after his dismissal from the school, he entered into the banking and finance sector, working at Bear Stearns in various roles before starting his own firm. Epstein developed an elite social circle, go figure, and procured many women and children with whom he associated sexually abused.
Imagine that.
He was also a sex offender who preyed on underage girls. He donated over $180,000 to politicians from both parties since 1990. He gave senators, governors, congressmen, and presidents. Some of them uh, some of them faced their own scandal in this sexual misconduct. Did you hear what I said? I was just reading that as the little video was going. So you can't tell me that it doesn't exist in Congress, because those laws would never have been passed ever unless there was something shady going on in there where they were doing it. They were committing it.
They got to protect their people.
And I'm going to play this video just so you guys know. Let me go find it again. Let me move this over here.
The financier who hobnobbed with the rich and powerful.
I
But
don't
he
know
was
how to go
also a sex
backwards.
offender who preyed on underage girls. How did he use his money to influence politics? Epstein donated over $180,000 to politicians from both parties since 1990. He gave to senators, governors, congressmen, and presidents. Some of them faced their own scandals of sexual misconduct. Epstein also
Yeah. What did I just say before I saw this? Just saying.
Epstein also donated to the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee in 2018, but they quickly returned his money. He also violated the contribution limit when he gave $12,000 to an independent candidate in 2014. Epstein's donations often coincided with his interests and connections. He gave to Stacey Plaskett, who represented his private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. He also gave to senators from New Mexico, where he owned a ranch.
So what does that tell you?
Creeper party.
Happens every day. It's in there. It's in the system. The only way to stop what's going on is to get that dirtiness out of the system. And it's thick.
Epstein's political influence was not limited to donations. He also cultivated relationships with influential figures, such as Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Prince Andrew. He invited them to his properties and offered them rides on his private jet. Epstein's political ties, however, did not protect him from the law. He was arrested in 2008 and 2019 on charges of sex trafficking of underage girls. He killed himself in jail while awaiting trial in 2019. Epstein's money and politics reveal a dark side of power and corruption. He exploited his wealth and connections to abuse and silence his victims. His donations also raise questions about the ethics and accountability of his recipients.
Imagine that. And then he unalived himself, supposedly. You should look into that doctor I spoke with and how many times that guy's been accused before they finally prosecuted him. Look at Larry Nasser. He is quite the POS.
Born in 1963. It's the sports medicine physician.
Yeah. Remember you were talking about the kids and their teams and things like that.
He was stabbed multiple times in the Florida federal prison.
Yep. As they all should be. He was actually he was attacked in court by a father of one of the children, right in the courtroom in front of the judge. The man started talking. He started listening to his giving his victim impact statement. All three of his daughters had gone through that doctor. All three of his daughters had been abused. The man was giving his statement in court, and he lost his shit and literally attacked him and started choking him in the courtroom.
Good job. Just saying.
There's video of it. The man got no charges.
Hold on. Let me look for it.
I think it happened about 3 years ago. I remember seeing it on my local news.
We don't use profanity, but if you have some words that you would like to say, I would like to give you the opportunity to say them.
I would ask you to, as part of this sentencing, to grant me 5 minutes in a locked room with this demon.
I have
Would
a
you do
feeling
that?
that is
He's
not
being
how
dead
our-
serious.
No, sir.
Oh yeah, he's not talking
1
shit.
You know that I can't do that. That's not how our legal
Well, I'm
system
gonna have
works.
to get something.
Stay down. Stay down.
Press Morgan. I'll
I
stay
mean,
down.
stay down.
Yeah, get over there, Matthew. Hurry up.
I want that stuff.
Behind your back.
Give me 1 minute with that. What if this happened to you guys?
He was not charged.
No one can behave like this. I want to make sure it's crystal clear.
You haven't lived through it, lady.
You cannot behave like this.
Wow.
When I open the door,
I can't watch that.
I see no harm, no foul there. The dad did nothing wrong.
Opa says money makes a lot of things disappear. Yes, it does.
Yeah, that doctor that he went after is he has been in front of Congress, actually, or I'm sorry, they've had women from our U.S. gymnastics team talking about the violations that he did to them, like some of the most famous female gymnasts in the world. And they've gone in front of Congress about this. That man is literally, he's probably violated thousands and thousands. Yes.
And like I said, statistically speaking, men get away with it typically 50 times before being caught the first time. And the ones that hurt boys get away with it up to 200 times before getting caught the first time because boys don't talk. And so, if you have boy children, make sure you have a very close relationship with them, that you're able to, that you know that they would tell you anything, because it's horrific for you to find out later on in life that something happened to your child and you have no control over fixing it. Welcome in, Arctic Wolf. Make sure that your boys speak up, because it does happen to boys. It does. And they're scared to talk. The only reason they get caught with girls is because girls show more symptoms and more signs outwardly versus boys are more inwardly. So, can you hold it down just for one moment, B? I need to go to the little girl's room.
Of
I have to
course.
go pedal squat. Thanks.
Of course. Welcome, Arctic. I'm not real familiar with that name, but you're welcome in. Opa, I think I remember you. You're the one that always wins the bingo for some reason when Kaylee doesn't win. Who else do we have in the room tonight? Just woke up. Jesus, I wish I could say that. Oh, is Opa, are you laughing at me saying you always win the bingo? I mean, we've only done it like twice lately, I think, and you've won it every time. Or you won something every time. You're like bingo rich. You don't, but okay. See, now I'm out to be a liar. I guess I'll live. Oh, was it Get to Know that one? And I'm thinking it was you because you guys are all like together.
I'm back.
Welcome back. Oh, sorry. I thought all you guys were in. I grouped you guys all together. I know it was like Get to Know his wife and then his sister, I think.
I don't know if it's his real sister. I believe that they're just really close.
Oh, it's the Get to Know crew.
Opa is very, very sweet, very loving, very kind, very giving woman. Sorry, I'm nibbling again.
She said we travel in packs.
I'm eating my favorite munchie. What is it?
You know, illegals cross the border in packs too. I'm just saying. You're gonna get me back on that topic.
What's that thing behind you, Pinky? What thing? The wall? A wall? This is a wall?
I'm pretty sure they're not talking about a wall.
Are they talking about the girl? I don't know. What thing?
I think they're
Are you
trying to
talking
scare you.
about the baby? The
Oh, your pup.
baby and his jammies? Mm-hmm. He just wants some of this. Look at, I gave him a piece of cheese. Now he's rubbing his face all over. Hey, look. What's that? Oh, 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 oh. Hey, come here. Look.
He's got to make everything his. He's got to mark it in some way.
Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, I got cheese on my lips. I got to get it off.
Came to my hotel room. He immediately jumps on that big old king size bed and starts rubbing his face.
Look at, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He's rubbing. Oh, and then he got back down on the floor with the heater. He's like, oh, mom's got me my blanket, my extra blankie, my heater, and cheese munchies.
Yeah, he's a West Coast dog.
No, he's a Southern guy.
Whatever.
He doesn't like the cold. He flies south for the winter. You know, he's a Southern guy. He's like, oh, cold, rain. What's this? Oh, I can't get my toe pads wet.
I'm thinking about going south for the winter.
You should. You live up where it's freaking blizzardy cold.
Well,
Yuck.
got vacation time I got to use still. I think I still got a couple days of vacation. I've got like 7 days of personal time that I still got to use. Plus, we get the week after Christmas off.
You're going to need it.
Oh, I'm going to need it?
You're going to need it.
Why is that?
We got a lot of legal work to do.
Oh.
Opa says, we travel in packs.
Yes, I said it about the illegals.
I'm counterfeit, so. That's what they used to call me, the counterfeit spick. I can say that. It's not racist. It's about
Yes, it is.
myself. No,
Yeah,
it's about
racist.
myself. Anyways, so I hope everybody, I would love to say I hope you enjoyed the show, but I hope the show was enlightening, information filled, and, just keep that warm spot in your heart for those that do need help out of situations like that. Because if we're not there to help them and give them hope, they're not going to know that they have a safe place they can go. But I'm going to jump off here. I've had another 2-hour stream, so that's 4.5 hours today. I will be back on tomorrow. We can finish our video that we started in my previous stream about civics. I think civics sounds better than politics. So, very enlightening. Thank you, Oladio.
I have one more question.
Yes, go ahead, shoot.
Can we possibly maybe do a follow-up video on this and have it include, I don't know a good way to do it, types of websites, but not the actual links. Of maybe places for the parents to look for their children to be.
Oh, I did. I mentioned it. You weren't here. You were at work. Discord, Roblox. If you have to, make a Roblox account. And, I know this is going to sound weird, but have your kids introduce you to their friends, that they're friends, okay? And kind of like just really pay attention, because you may see things that you didn't think were there, and just stay proactive in their life. Yeah, that's all I can say is stay proactive. Keep an eye out on it. If for some reason you ask your child for their device, say, hey, I want your device. And they're like, okay, hold on. And they start fiddling around with it. Just take it. There is no privacy. There is no privacy allowed in my house until you're 18 and you're moved out. With my hopes and prayers, it won't be till they're 25 and moved out. because I don't think that we're really honestly mature enough, especially girls, because we seek that that male role model, that rail. Um, exactly. Helicopter parenting is not a crime. It's a safety for yes, exactly. I agree 1,000%.
You almost
1,000%.
have to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
You
said,
did.
Sorry, go ahead.
Because there is websites. I use Discord for when I'm gaming. I don't have private conversations on Discord. I'm typically in a group of people. So I don't use Discord for private conversations. I use it for large groups when I'm gaming, and that is it. I don't know anyone on Discord personally. Nope, can't say I do. And so I wouldn't put myself or my children in a position that could compromise them. So a lot of these websites and information that I found was actually on Discord, found through Roblox. And they'll say, here, go to my Discord channel. And it's not what you think it is. It is creepy. Exactly. I agree.
It's kind of what you have to do. Because
Yeah, you do. Because it's way too easy for them. So, say for instance, I'll do a little role play real quick before I jump off. So, we're going to pretend that I'm young. I know that's really hard to do right now, you guys. Hold on. Where's my balls? Let me get my balls.
yeah, you need something.
My bullshit balls. We'll pretend I'm young for a minute, and we're going to pretend that B is on Discord. I'm playing a video game.
Oh yeah, what's up, girl?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm 10.
I'm 25, but I'm going to pretend to be 15.
You're 15?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. I wish I was 15.
How old are you?
I'm 14.
Oh, okay. I don't talk to 10-year-olds, but I can talk to a 14-year-old.
Wow, this is almost mimicking the conversation we read. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 14.
Do you enjoy adult things?
This is getting a little weird for me.
Yes, let's stop.
But that's how they do it. They'll be like, "Oh, do you like videos? What games do you play?" "Oh, I play that game too," even if they don't. And they'll get your child into a conversation. And B can vouch for this because he read it himself. And kids will lie because they'll be like, "Oh, I know they won't talk to me because I'm only 10. So I'm going to lie and say I'm 14 or I'm 12 or whatever." And then the adult will lie because they know that the kid's not going to talk to them if they're too old. So then they're going to lie and say they're younger. That's what predators do. And it's hitting me weird because I just came across it recently. So I'm telling you, I know from experience, I just read it. Traveling Fools, it's good to see you. And so they'll do this role play thing with them. And next thing you know, the 10-year-old that's pretending that she's older or he's older is telling them their whole life story. I mean, I could go down to like, if the child knows their address, they'd be like, "Oh, well, I live here." Oh, great. Now the predator knows where you live. So not only is it putting the child in danger, but it's putting the whole family in danger.
Or I go to this school.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Next thing you know, you have a weird pedo sitting out in his little white freaking ice cream truck watching your kid at school. I'm telling you guys, please be safe. Do everything you can to be safe. Don't worry about if someone thinks you're being overbearing or overprotective. Who gives a shit what somebody else thinks? Protect your kids at all costs. Check out the movie Trust. It's on point. I don't think I need to, Opa. I'm living it. But I understand. I'll probably end up watching it. And it's sad. Because just when you think, okay, you know, I can give my kids some freedom and, you know, maybe they can socialize online and at school, at least they're not out running around, end up getting hurt. No, they're still pulled in by a new way, like the device is the new avenue for them. They feel safe because they're on the other end of a device. They feel untouchable because they can't be tracked, which makes it more dangerous because now they can know your address. They can see pictures of your kids. They get video, all kinds of things. So the teen girl meets an older man saying he is in high school and gets the girl to hook up at the mall. Next thing you know, she's in his white van that doesn't have windows. And the locks are taken off the doors.
And that's the scary thing is it nowadays they're not just assaulting the children, they get trafficking and they get all kinds of other horrible things that go on.
Mm-hmm.
The kids don't, the kids, even if they think they're grown, the worst thing they think is going to happen is, they meet up with an adult.
Oh, but what they don't understand is that adult is very capable of injecting them with their first use of heroin, and they are done for. Because now they're obliterated. They're out of their mind. They don't know what they're doing. And a bunch of other old creepy people are abusing them, and they have no clue if they're coming or going because they are now on an illicit substance that they don't know what's going on.
Until they become dependent.
Oh, it's dependent the first time. That is a physical addiction, not a mental addiction. And so that specific one is one that their body will then crave forever. How long? It takes a lot for people to get off of that one. And they are obliterated. Like they don't know anything. They don't know if they're coming or going. They're like little walking zombies. Yeah. So please, please, please. For, if anything, for humanity, because these are our kids and these kids are going to grow up and they're going to be running our country. And it's just really, really our world's in a bad place right now. And all I can do is pray that it can get better. She says, okay. And they talk about high school sports. Yeah, that's probably how he like rang her in, like fished for something and got her, to feel comfortable. And that's what it is we all seek human interaction, even as children. So if we're not giving our children human interaction and they're thriving on us as a parent for that human interaction, they're going to go seek that human interaction from other people or kids at school or people online. And they're going to get a hold of people that they shouldn't get a hold of. And those people are looking for those needy kids.
That's
my kids let their friends know that they can always talk to me if they can't talk to their parents. Exactly. And somebody always needs an accountability partner, whether it's you, the aunt, or someone. They always need that one person that they can go to and talk about things, preferably the parents, unless it's the parents that are hurting them. The parents, so something can be done, because a lot of places won't take a report from, a stranger or a friend or whatever. It just makes it really complicated. And yeah, the judicial system is a mess.
Why can't they take one from a parent or a friend?
So for instance, say a parent is abusing a child, like a teacher can, a counselor can, a social worker can, law enforcement can, and a doctor church groups can, certain people in church groups can. It just depends on if they are a reporting agency. But it takes a lot. So for me, for instance, so say like something was happening to the neighbor kid, it would take a lot of convincing for me to convince, social services or the police department that something is happening to that child versus a reporting agency. If she was the child, he, she, whatever, was to report it to a reporting agency or someone that is from a reporting agency.
But that's disturbing. So if the neighbor kid comes
Because
to
they
me,
said people do it all the time. Who was it? The Wells family. Was it the Wells family? The Wells family, and the one with the little boy that his mom put him in the trash can, in the dumpster. CPS had been out to that house because the neighbors called or something or other, and they'll be like, "Oh, the kids look fine." I have yet to ever see CPS strip a child down and do a essay report on them, ever. They look for bruises. Is the house somewhat clean? Is there food in the fridge? They walk out. And hopefully it's not someone that has any kind of like stature in the community, because they'll just laugh and be like, "Oh, they would never do that."
see, that's the disturbing part is, so if a kid finally does confide in you and you
Mhm.
want to report it, they're still not going to take you serious.
Right.
I would
It takes
rather,
multiple reports
I would
if it's
rather
not
them,
coming from a reporting agency.
I would rather the government take, or policing agency, whatever, put harsher crimes in place for putting out a false report and investigate every single child that someone that says is being abused. I would rather see the dollar
Mhm.
spent that way. I would rather see $100,000 of my tax money spent to prosecute somebody abusing the system, as opposed to letting a child go through and get hurt. Because that child you let go, that may not quite have the right evidence to if the parent is even
Mhm.
somewhat scared, you would think that that's going to at least reduce the amount of it.
Do you remember when I was told to contact CPS for Monkey?
Yeah.
And CPS said, "Well, you have a protective order in place. We don't feel that she is in any danger, so there's no reason for us to do a report,
Even with the doctor's reports, I remember.
even per the doctor's request." So that's what I'm saying. Like, they are supposed to take that report because the doctor is a reporting agency. It's messed up. The system is very broken. Is very broken. And all I can do is, tell you guys, keep it out there. Keep it on everyone's ears. Keep their ears burning, because it's the only way we're going to be able to fix anything is by keeping it out there. Period. If we go quiet about it, they'll think, "Oh, there's no problem," and continue trying to brush it under the rug. So for instance, well, I'm hoping the situation ends here fairly shortly, and then I'll be able to start from day one and start, putting down the timeline of everything that happened, where people can understand the kind of red tape that you have to get through to get help. Other than the stuff that I've already, omitted to, or not omitted, omission, not withholding, that I've already like put out on the table. There's things that I have yet to admit to publicly that will be addressed hopefully here soon. So there is some people that do have some knowledge of some of the things that I have discussed with them, but I'm not yet making it public until this next big step is over with. So Opa says it's easier action taken against animal abuse than child abuse. Yeah,
It's
no kidding.
sad, but you're right.
Animal control will remove the animal, but CPS will not properly assess a child. Exactly. And I agree. I
It was just, it's funny she mentions the animal abuse. Not that it is funny, but there was just a guy local. The news ran a story on a guy that the neighbor videotaped him whooping his dog's ass. That man just got sentenced to 6 years in prison for it.
not a little baby.
Yeah, little puppy dog. It was like a little schnauzer, little dog,
Aw.
or like a Maltese. But that man just got sentenced to 6 years in prison. It was on the news. Now that
Wow.
same thing. There's people out there harming kids, only getting 3.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's the sad shit.
Well, at least they're cracking. I can say at least they are cracking down on animal abuse because people got away with a lot.
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, this dog, the guy did beat the life out of this poor dog, but neighbor caught it on phone, cell phone camera, because they're everywhere now. They caught him on camera,
And they look at animals. Well, I don't think they do any. I mean, they do, but they don't. They used to look at dogs like animals as property, not as, it's not a human life, but not as, like a living being. It was more like it addressed as property. And I'm glad that they've worked on changing the laws on the abuse that goes on with animals, because it's horrendous.
but kids are they should be your most precious little animals. And people don't look at them that way. I mean, I've
What,
seen
people?
yeah,
Kids?
I've seen people treat pets better than they do their kids.
I don't know. I treat them like my kids. So
Yeah, your dog is special. That's for damn sure.
yeah, he has his little jammies on. He wants his blankie, but it's okay. We're getting ready to go to bed.
He wants me. He misses me.
Whatever. Yeah, that's why he's always with me, no matter what.
Really? Who do you ride in the car with?
Yeah, for a 30-minute car ride. That was it.
And
You got to borrow him for 30 minutes.
He didn't miss mom. He laid down on the seat just like.
Did
he
you
does
get
with-
him his own burger?
No, I didn't need to. I didn't have to bribe him with food.
Now he told me all about it. He's like, he didn't even get me lunch, Mom.
Oh, come on now.
He's like, I didn't get my Flying Dutchman. I had to buy his puppuccino.
Aren't those free?
Yeah.
See, you didn't even buy it for him.
No, but I remembered to order it. Yes, I need to get to bed too. Get my fur babies out one more time before bed. Exactly, Opa. But I will be on tomorrow night. Hopefully I won't be too late. If I am late, I'm sorry. I'm saying it in advance. But I
You'll
will
be
be back
late.
on tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. We're going to finish the video that we started today. Civics class kids, Civics 101 on how corrupt our Congress office is and how they're trying to fix it.
Wonderful.
I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. All 7, 8, 9, all 9 of us. I love you all. And for those that get to watch later, hit like, subscribe, and share. Get the word out. I love you guys.
Good night.
Mm.
What?
Stay and watch the outro.
Not doing it.